You guys know the drill by now, right? I watch NXT, I come here, I talk to you lovely people to broadcast it tomorrow night on YouTube, then I go back and watch AEW if I'm not totally exhausted. So I don't know what's happened on Dynamite tonight. I pay attention to Twitter. I know that AEW is running a little bit scared because they've lost 3 on the spin now. They've lost their 2-night pay-per-view head-to-head. They lost the battle the week before for the go-home shows. Now they're squeezing out an extra pay-per-view and calling it a fundraiser to guilt-trip you into watching. But did Jericho really just turn the demographics into a storyline? Is that a thing? Let's talk about NXT. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC reality check, here with your July 15th, 2020 NXT review. How are you doing? How are you guys doing? We're deep still in the COVID era, so I feel like I should start every video with, how are you guys doing? I'm doing okay. You guys that know I'm in Ontario, Canada, and we're slowly slipping into phase 3 where we can meet up with more people. Eventually, we can open up the theaters. Eventually, which is amazing for me because theaters are my therapy other than wrestling, and it will obviously affect the Flix Fix series going forward. And speaking of the Flix Fix series, we meant to do a video for you guys that will obviously or a podcast I should say, because it's audio regardless of where you catch it. We were supposed to have one up for you guys this Tuesday. Things got delayed, schedules got changed around. We did have a nice little concept video. It's not a review. We are going to be doing our Joker trilogy shortly, and that's going to come, but I stuck another little extra video there in the middle that's not a review. It is some fan casting. It is delving back into the Marvel realm, and it is going to be fun when we get a chance to record it, but that didn't happen. You know what else didn't happen? I didn't talk about last week's NXT. I didn't talk about the second half of the Great American Bash, which was good. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I keep coming up here and feeling like I need to apologize. I don't really feel like I need to apologize because this is a hobby I love all you guys, but this is a hobby at the end of the day. Overtime kicked my ass last week, and hot weather kicked my ass last week, and a lot of other things kicked my ass last week. So you know what I did? I kicked back and I just watched the second half of the Great American Bash, and it was good. The street fight between LeRae and Yim was a lot of fun. Gargano and Swerve was as good as we all expected it to be, and Keith Lee defeating Adam Cole was awesome. It was everything that a not quite pay-per-view main event should be, and congratulations to Keith Lee. Obviously now this goes into very terrifying, are they bringing Adam Cole up to the main roster territory that I really don't want to talk about, because I don't like that. There's a lot of other things that they can do with Adam Cole other than have a title on him, and I mean, if they threw the title back on him, that would be weird as well. But yeah, no, it was really good. I needed the week, which is why I didn't mind at all that we didn't end up doing the Flix Fix, which is hopefully going to go up next week. I was hoping to do 1 or 2 collaborations last week. Those didn't happen either. With the way my week was going, that didn't hurt my feelings either. And you know what? I gave myself last Wednesday off. So, to the 1 or 2 of you that did actually pop up, and it boggles my mind that a couple of you will actually pop up and be like, hey, I didn't see an NXT review. Is there something wrong with YouTube, or is there just not a review? I don't expect that ever. I don't expect me doing a video here to have that much of an effect on your guys' day, but when it does, it does your heart good type thing. You know, we're coming back out of the COVID times. You need as much to make your heart feel good as you possibly can. As I say, we're opening up, and this is not a dig at my friends in the States. I know you guys are having a really rough time, but you know, we've sort of got it under control. I don't want to completely quote Doug Ford and, you know, tootin' hootin' hoorah for Ontario, but our numbers seem to be pretty good. We're able to open up to a certain degree. I can go back to the movies, which is a big thing for me. And also, I don't want to say anything because I don't know anything, but apparently there's a big announcement coming from Destiny this Friday, and if it's not an announcement about a show, I'm going to be real disappointed. That's all I'm going to say. Now, there's a couple things you can expect coming up really soon. As I say, next Tuesday, Hoping to get that Flicks Fix episode out to you guys. I may or may not, depending on if I can get my hands on a co-host or not, I may or may not be doing an Extreme Rules The Horror Show prediction podcast. But Extreme Rules, somebody's gonna lose an eye, and they're gonna fight in a swamp, and they're gonna fight in a bar, and Ziggler's got some sort of weird thing that he's doing with McIntyre. Every time somebody mentions the thing with Ziggler, I'm not going to dwell on this very long, don't worry about it. Every time somebody mentions anything to do with Dolph Ziggler, I go back onto What Culture, watch their reactions to the SummerSlam that I was at last year in Toronto, with the Ziggler-Goldberg thing, where he just kept on saying, "You didn't really beat me, you didn't," and he just gets his ass kicked again. I gotta believe that's what's going to happen here. The weird thing they did a couple of weeks ago, bringing back Heath Slater for a night, is weird. There's a lot of weird stuff on this show. Sasha Banks is going to pick up a title, and her and Bayley are going to have all the titles, and I'll let you guess. I'll let you figmentize in your own imagination what I think about all that bullshit. But it's going to be, it's an interesting weekend. Like I say, I could be doing predictions for that show. There is a TNA pay-per-view on Saturday, apparently. Now, you guys know I stopped watching TNA a long time ago, but every now and then I'll tune in if they have a big pay-per-view, just out of interest to see who's on there that I know and whatever. And recently, the people that I know on there are people that I've seen at Destiny, so I'm watching it from a completely different point of view. So I might tune in on Saturday and tweet along with that. We do have the horror show at Extreme Rules Horror Show, the horror show that's horrible, on Sunday. But another thing I want to bring to your guys' attention, and this is what I really should have started off with without rambling. Our good friend here on this channel, Jake DeMarco, is doing an awesome thing Saturday, 3 p.m., over on his channel. He's doing a gaming stream, but he's doing a gaming stream for charity, for a charity that I'm not personally that familiar with, called Extra Life. It's got to do with, I think, his local hospital and children's hospitals in general. I think it's got something to do as well with getting them, like, gaming consoles and other really cool shit like that, while they're in getting care while children are dealing with shit that children should never, ever, ever have to deal with, let alone adults. So Jake DeMarco is doing a stream on his channel this coming Saturday. I'm going to be on there at some point, hopefully. I don't know, maybe we will shoot the shit about some rest. I'm bullshit when it comes to games, so I don't know. I'll get on there. Maybe we'll talk some NXT. Maybe we'll talk about Extreme Rules. I don't know. It's his show. I can't really call that shot, can I? But I do. All jokes aside, I do really, really encourage you. I've shared a bunch of the information on my Twitter. You can follow me at SpazPhoenix1. You can find the information there, or you can follow him directly on YouTube and on Twitter at Countdown Ended. The link for the charity thing is there. The link for his stream that's coming up this Saturday is there. If you know, you know. If you don't know who Jake DeMarco is, he's just he's one of the good ones in this community. Obviously, lots of fans of the Joe Cronin Show know him. Fans of his own channel obviously know him. Fans of this channel would have heard him on this channel talking with me. He's basically become my NXT guy when we talk about NXT pay-per-views, and he's just, like, genuinely a good dude trying to do some good shit. So go check it out. If I remember, I'm going to put the links down in the description box of this video. If I don't remember, like I say, I've put it up a bunch of times on my Twitter at SpazPhoenix, or go check out his Twitter directly at Countdown Ended, or check out his YouTube channel, Countdown, youtube.com/Countdown Ended. That's where the stream is going to be this Saturday. 3 p.m. local time. If you don't live in the same time zone as us, you're going to have to figure that one out. But it's going to be a good time. And like I say, in shitty times, we got to focus on some of the good stuff. So shout out to Jake DeMarco. We're going to get him back on this channel to do some more NXT shit as soon as I can. And that's about it. 9 minutes into the podcast, and we're actually going to talk about this week's show. We opened up with a video package, obviously the highlights of the second night of Great American Bash. I guess I should say, like, I was there for the first half, which was actually the Great Canadian Bash. I just skipped the Great American Bash. That's lame, and it's not going to be the last lame thing I say tonight. We see a video package. mostly focusing on Keith Lee and his obvious double title victory and all that sort of thing. And then they go to other superstars on the roster, and I thought that this was a really cool new tweak on an old trick that WWE and NXT do. When you want to make something seem like a really big deal, you go around the roster and you get a couple little congratulations from everybody, but they didn't do that this time. To really nail down the impact of having a brand new champion, a brand new guy at the helm, after Adam Cole, Bebe, held that title for 403 days, was it, I think? It's a drastic shift because every single NXT title match going forward for the next little while has a completely different dynamic than it did with Adam Cole, because they're two different wrestlers. Obviously, Undisputed Era made a reference as well, but it wasn't a bunch of people congratulating him like we had with Io Shirai. Io Shirai had a bunch of heartwarming messages from a bunch of people giving her all these supportive things when she beat Charlotte and Rhea Ripley at In Your House. That was awesome. This was that, but different, because it was all the different people that are now gunning for him. It was like the whole roster as a whole kind of went, oh, he's the guy we got to get the title off of now. So you had guys in there like Cameron Grimes, like Johnny Gargano, like Finn Balor, and obviously it ended with KARRION KROSS, because I didn't mention last week, while all the pyro was going off, and the fact that they actually had pyro in Full Sail was cool, but they had the pyro, they had the confetti, they had Keith Lee with the two belts, and he's crying, and it's a wonderful moment, but then they pan back, and they just saw KARRION KROSS and Scarlett, and I gotta say, guys, look at Scarlett Bordeaux, or just Scarlett as she's known in WWE. Does she not look Khaleesi as fuck? And I'm not complaining in the slightest. So obviously we started off this week's show, and this was one thing that got driven into the dirt right away, didn't it? Because it got done by the commentators. Obviously it got done by Mauro Ranallo, because Mauro Ranallo is Mauro Ranallo, but it also got overdone by the fake crowd chanting NX Lee. I get it. I do. I'm happy for the guy. The guy's awesome. The guy's got charisma for days. He's going to be a great champion. You don't need to put a lame... Just stop. Just stop. Anyways, he comes down to the ring. He's really soaking up the moment. He asks the ring announcer, whose name I think is Alicia, to ring announce him again as the reigning North American champion and new NXT champion. It's all good. Talks about he's at a crossroads, and he sort of hints at what's been going on in the real world. People have had losses. People have had, like, he obviously never says coronavirus. He never says COVID. He never mentions the fact that we've all been on lockdown or that we have a fake crowd there. But he makes vague references to the fact that the whole world's been going through a hard time right now. And for a minute, I thought he was doing, like, his own version of the Dusty Rhodes Hard Times thing, but it didn't quite go there. He says something special, even though all this bad stuff is happening, something special when something special happens. I can speak, I swear, when you come into this ring. He lays both belts down on the thing, talks about being a double champion, talks about knowing that the entire locker room in the back wants the same kind of opportunities that he had. Talks about his trainer, who apparently passed away the week before that title match happened, which is really shit. Thanks the fans, obviously. And then calls out his number one frenemy, Dominik Dijakovic. And I swear to Christ, guys, I can't underscore it any other way than I already have. I have nothing against Dominik Dijakovic. I'm sure he's a great dude. He's obviously athletic as fuck, but I still, it's the Cameron Grimes thing, and we're going to get to Cameron Grimes later on. I want to care, but they're just not making it happen. I know that these two... My hat's doing a thing. Sorry, if you're listening on audio, that's not going to mean anything to you at all. I know that I don't care about Dominik Dijakovic so much that I don't care, even though I know these guys are going to have a good match. That's really bad. He comes out, he congratulates Keith Lee, he says, this moment shouldn't be about me, it's all about you, whatever you want to say. Keith Lee comes out and he says, you are the one that pushed me to my limits in all of our matches, and I'm really glad that they didn't turn that into a limitless pun, seeing as they had already done the NX Lee. But he says, I want the first challenger for these titles to be you, and I want it to be tonight. and it perks your ears up all at once, because immediately your booking brain goes on, and the whole like, oh, WWE is super predictable. It's like, okay, these guys are going to have a scrap for 5 minutes. KARRION KROSS is going to come in and interfere. That's how you're going to set up the rivalry between him and Thing, and Cross is going to get a title match, and it's so predictable, and you can hear Michael Sidgwick at What Culture bitching about it, because I'm not going to finish that sentence because it's rude. But the thing that caught your eye is not only is it a title match, but he's gonna defend both his titles in every match. Is that, I mean, they clearly, when you see the match later on, they've definitely kept that that double title, what do you want to call it? Winner take all match graphic, so they're gonna get some good use out of that. And Dijak, he accepts, and then they do a really weird, awkward, delayed fist bump thing. I would have taken anybody else. I mean, I don't like Cameron Grimes, but I would have taken Cameron Grimes here, but it's just something else. I'm happy for Keith Lee, and as I say, the opening speech was cool for the most part. The lame puns from the fans I could have done without, but I would have literally taken him in the ring with anybody at this point. I would have taken, you know, cocky-ass Johnny Gargano, who he's been feuding with more recently, getting pounced into the 75th row over this. But it is what it is, and we'll get to what that means when we get to it. We move on to, speaking of Cameron Grimes taking on Damian Priest. And you gotta figure this is like the last chapter for these two, because they both gotta go and do something else. And it was mercifully short, is what I was saying. This whole show, they must have done something right on this show, because the whole show felt like it was clicking along. Felt like when the show was over, you didn't really, like, you weren't ready for it to be over. Like, it didn't feel like you'd been sitting there for 2 hours, which is always a plus, which is something you can never, ever, ever say about Monday Night Raw, where people are putting each other's eyes out. Anyways, stare at the hands, stare at the hands, stare at the hands. Boot by Priest to start off the match, some high knees and a beatdown and a mudhole stomp. Cornerback elbow by Priest, and they brawl to the outside. Forearms by Grimes, and a twisting Uranagi and a snake eyes. I will say, the twisting Uranagi by Grimes was pretty cool. Lost my place, because of course I did. Corner spears by Grimes and a drop kick and a kick to the back. They trade some forearms. Grimes works over the shoulder. There's a grounded headlock by Grimes, who steps on the face, which is always a nice touch, isn't it? Series of strikes by Priest, and a bell clap and a lariat, and an inside out lariat by Grimes, and an apron bomb by Priest. And it was a release apron bomb. It was the jackknife of apron bombs, was it not? Mic check by Priest. I don't know what they called it. I think it's called a flatliner when it's not Ken Anderson doing it, but that's fine. Twisting body press thing that Grimes does. As I say, I gotta keep repeating it so that I am not misquoted, because that happens a lot. Grimes is not without talent. Grimes is doing a shtick. I get the shtick that he's doing, and he's doing it well. It's just not one that I want. It's fine. But yeah, that weird twisting crossbody press thing that he does is pretty cool. Cyclone kick and a suspended version of the Reckoning off the second rope gets the win for Priest. And Priest looks into the camera and he speaks to the two guys that are going to be fighting for the titles later on tonight. And he says, I'm keeping my eye on both of you, which is fine, because Priest isn't going to be world champion anytime soon. But I wouldn't mind Damian Priest versus Keith Lee. I wanted Damian Priest to get into the title hunt against Keith Lee when he had the North American Championship, which he still has, but I'm sure Priest would now want a different title. Moving on. Let's just move on. We have another one of those weird Thatch Can segments talking about what you can learn from a submission move of Fujiwara armbar. And he makes fun of the guy that he was beating up and tells him to go ice his arm, and we move on. And again, much like Grimes, I get what they're trying to do here. They're trying to do their own version of what Taz is doing on AEW. And here, note it down for all the skeptics out there, I'm giving AEW a little bit of credit. That thing that Taz does, where he just basically breaks down a move and explains why it works and how the submission works and which way the joint goes and how the impact is on an impact move. I think that's great. I think that is the perfect little extra shtick for Taz to do. I think it's great. He's great at it because he's got that no bullshit delivery, and it's like, I used to do this, therefore I can tell you what it is. It's just that simple. And this is NXT trying to have their version of that, and I get it, and it's an intriguing concept, but it's really just, hey, here's this guy that had a cool tag team partner for a while, and now he's beating up nobodies, not even in the ring. This is one of those segments, I will say, and I hate talking about, you know, the fact that we're still in the COVID era. I really do hate putting that precursor on everything, but you kind of have to. I have to think that this is one of those things that literally would not exist if we weren't in the COVID era, because there'd be more in-ring stuff. You know what's cool? You know what's cool about in-ring stuff? Shotzi Blackheart versus Indy Hartwell. I'm not very... I know I've seen Indy Hartwell before, but I'm not very familiar. We've got a lot of people from Australia right now in NXT, in WWE in general, do we not? Shotzi Blackheart obviously had that awesome scene last week at the Great American Bash where she ran over Robert Stone's foot after Robert Stone threw coffee at Killian Dane, and Aaliyah was there laughing, and Robert Stone sat there under the tank screaming that he was gonna die. 4 people that I love in a segment that made me laugh. That's all you really need, and we're gonna talk more about them later on. Back elbow by Shotzi to start the match, snapmare and an ankle lock, a top rope head scissors snake eyes combination thing by Shotzi, a drop kick by Indy, beats down on the back, beats down on the elbow, a side slam by Indy and a surfboard stretch and a boot to the back, forearms by Shotzi, a corner splash, a facebuster, an elbow jump, a senton cannonball by Shotzi, but out comes Robert Stone's gimpy ass in a walking boot. For the distraction, there's a cheap shot by Aaliyah on Shotzi. A boot by Hartwell gets the, what I'm going to call, upset victory for Indy Hartwell. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with Shotzi from the Indies, and I hate saying that because it sounds so whatever, I was lucky enough to see Shotzi at Destiny. Yes, there's your Spaz Phoenix bingo for the evening. But for those of you that are still brand new to seeing Shotzi, I guess you could, it might look like, hey, here's 2 new people and one of them won. But because I'm a little bit more attached to Shotzi than some people are, and I'm sure a lot of people from the Indies are as well, it does have a little bit of a, you really shouldn't have got that victory, and that was a bit of an upset, Robert Stone's a dick walking around in his, like, support boot, which is really good. Indy Hartwell gets the win, that's fine. Shotzi Blackheart doesn't get hurt by the loss because there was a distraction from 2 different people plus a little bit of an attack. Everybody kind of wins. Shotzi Blackheart on my screen is always a win. I will say, follow them all on social media. Shotzi Blackheart, Scarlett Bordeaux, and KARRION KROSS, because they've been all over social media, all over Twitter and Instagram, and they're all wearing each other's merch. They're just like, there's nothing really said about it. There's no like big deep explanation. It's not part of any storyline. It's just, here's a couple of friends, and we're all wearing each other's t-shirts, and that's... As much as I want to focus on the show and avoid real life, when you see cool shit like that happening in real life, it's just good. It's just good. It's... I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore about, you know, drawing the line between what we're watching on TV versus what we're trying to ignore in real life and all that sort of thing. It's why I'm going to keep redirecting you, and if you watch me on social media for the next couple of days, you're probably going to get sick of me saying it, but I'm going to keep directing you to Jake's charity thing, because, like, we need some good shit, and seeing a bunch of wrestlers that are really badass in the ring and really badass as part of the show, all being goofballs, all wearing each other's t-shirts and, you know, supporting each other and having a bit of fun is good shit. Moving on. Pretty generic interview with Tegan Nox in the back talking about her title match with Io Shirai later on tonight, which is fine. We see a video package on Santos Escobar and company, and yeah, people that were upset that, you know, they're trying to put this group together like they're a bunch of mob bosses, a bunch of drug dealers, whatever. Yeah, the aesthetic is really there now. Here's the thing. It's really good. I like it a lot because it's not over the top. They're not like Scarface, say hello to my little friend, and like shooting the place up or anything like that. They're all sitting around talking about the people that they don't like, having a drink, having a toast. You know, the Cruiserweight Championship is just kind of there in the background. They toasted to the end of Drake Maverick, which I don't think is the end of Drake Maverick, but that's fine. They talk about the mockery of Breezango, and they came out with the Luchador. Oh, that was another cool thing. Breezango coming out in the Conquistador outfits for their entrance last week was pretty cool as well. But they talk about that mockery, and you know, sometimes if you want to build an empire, you got to break another one down first, which is cliche as fuck. But for a gimmick like this, it absolutely works. I really really like this group. I've been saying for the past couple of weeks that I'm kind of bummed that Joaquin Wilde, who is a little bit more of a fun character, or at least the version of him that we knew before as DJZ, was a really fun, exuberant, really, really charismatic character, and I was kind of bummed that he was you know, getting stuck in this quote unquote. I think I was wrong. I think this is coming along, and it's as simple as look at the gear last week. People thought I was really weird last week tweeting about how good, what is it, Engerbal de Fantasma. I butchered that, and I apologize profusely. Legado de Fantasma. Maybe somebody help me down in the box below. If you're watching me in the chat right now laughing at my horrible pronunciation, please try to put it in the chat. Please try to put it in the live stream thing. I can't. I'm not even going to pretend. But it's good. I like it. And Santos Escobar, who keeps getting called Druggy McDruglord or whatever on Twitter. It's fine. And you know what they put in the middle of this show? In the middle of this show, where the women are main eventing once again, you got Lee and Dijak fighting for 2 titles in one match, and they threw it in the middle of the card because that's how strong the main event is with the women's division. And I will say, speaking of our good friend Jake DeMarco, I had a chance to shoot the shit with him a little bit while I was watching NXT. He was watching AEW. Here's my new measuring stick, right? Yes, AEW kicks our asses. And I say our as in NXT. I'm not in NXT. I don't know why I say our, but whatever. AEW kick our asses in tag team wrestling. That's a fact. And that's why they give you 27 million tag matches in a night. That's why you've got, like, what is it, Omega and the Bucks taking on the Dinosaur Project or whatever the fuck they are tonight. That's why they're going to run through all of the Revival's dream matches real super quick because they're smart. That's why, you know, the Chief Brandy officer had to put herself in a tag team because, you know, not going there today. But WWE and NXT specifically school you on women's wrestling. That's been true for a while. Here's what I'm going to say. Take a look at WWE as a whole. Now that means NXT, NXT UK, Raw, SmackDown. There's no women on 205 Live. I don't even think 205 Live is a thing anymore. But you take all the women of those 4 brands. Take out all the current champions. Take out the 4 horsewomen. Take out all the legends. Take out the possibility of Ronda Rousey coming back. And you've still got a division that you could beat AEW over the head with once a day and twice on Sundays. Oh yes. Moving on. Lee and Dijak is weird. Dijak in the middle of this, I'm not even going to go through it because it was really slow and weird, and they kept on trying to like fist bump and handshake in the middle between moves, and that got old really fast. I will say Dijak did a really weird modified Sister Abigail thing somewhere in the middle that was really, really cool. Top Rope Blockbuster was also pretty cool. The sequence of Dijak trying to chop Lee and Lee coming back with the Grizzly Magnum, the symbolism of that is wonderful because Dijak, if you want to go with symbolism, it's 1 versus 2. It's one hand doing a slap, or it's 2 hands doing the Grizzly Magnum. Hey, here, I'm a single superstar that would love to be a single champion one day. Oh, really? Well, I've already got 2 belts. Here, have 2 slaps. The symbolism of that is great. The match ends with a 1-arm slam by Lee, followed by the Big Bang Catastrophe, and Lee obviously gets the win. Picks up Dijak after the match. They have a handshake and a hug, and they show all kinds of respect. The lights go out. And they brought up something, they did a little bit of connected storytelling here that I had forgotten about. Because you knew that Scarlett was going to target Lee because he's the new champion, and they had the thing last week at the end of the match, and that part of it's fine. And Scarlett sort of being the harbinger of things to come is a really cool thing that I think they're pulling off really well. And I thought she was going to come out with the hourglass again, and they were going to do that whole symbolism all over again. But then I had totally forgotten that he knocked the hourglass out of Adam Cole's hand and smashed it. So she didn't bring the hourglass back and put another one in the ring and do the whole thing all over again. She brought out a bag with the broken bits and pieces of the frame and the broken glass and the little bits of sand that were left, and dumped out all the broken shit along the ring. And it wasn't just an "I'm coming for you," and it was a "remember what you did" now I'm coming for you. And I thought that was just so brilliant for something, as I say, for a little bit of the story that I had forgotten, because that was right in the middle of the Lee and Cole build. The smashing of the hourglass backstage was something that I had absolutely forgotten about, and as soon as she dumped it out, I was like, that's fucking brilliant. If you don't like anything else on NXT, you cannot fault them for the way that they have presented KARRION KROSS so far. Especially for somebody like me, who had never seen Killer KROSS before, and this was my first introduction to him. I don't think they've put a single foot wrong. I think him going and sticking it to Adam Cole and then pulling a hard right and going to Lee, I think a lot of people are going to say that was a misstep, but I don't think it was. I don't think it was. That's me personally. In the back, there's a bit of a stare down between Kross and Dijak, which is pretty cool. They shoved each other. They sort of fought out the entryway, and we're not seen again tonight. That's fine. I have to watch NXT on a shitty stream. You guys know this. I've talked about it at length. And because of that shitty stream, I didn't catch hardly any of Tim Thatcher versus Denzel Desjardins. It looked like a pretty grapply MMA-y smack-em-up type match. Thatcher gets the win, obviously, because Desjardins is a nobody on NXT, and Thatcher's the one they're pushing, which is fine. There's a post-match attack by Lorcan, so I guess Lorcan's a heel now? Anyways, they went to, I guess, some sort of social media hub, and they showed a tweet from Rhea Ripley, basically putting to bed everything that everybody's been saying about Rhea Ripley. Oh, she fell down so hard since WrestleMania. No, she got annoyed by some twerps, and she dealt with them, and basically that's what the tweet said. She's, I'm done with Aaliyah, I'm done with the Robert Stone brand, it's time to get back in the hunt, it's time to get back to what's mine. So basically Rhea Ripley is going to be back in the title hunt, and they use that to transition into, hey, I bet she's paying attention to tonight's main event, because we've got this main event tonight. Then we go to some footage of the Robert Stone brand, and Robert Stone talking to Killian Dane, trying to apologize for last week, and trying to, basically say, please don't kill me, which was great. Can't read my writing, that's fine. Aaliyah comes in with a picture because Dexter Lumis, of all people, has drawn a picture of what happened to Robert Stone last week, getting his foot run over by the Tank, and she's all upset by this and whatever. Robert Stone tries to get Killian Dane to join the Robert Stone brand, and Killian Dane says, okay, if you can get me a match with Dexter Lumis. Now, I love breaking down wrestling sometimes, because this is all ridiculous. I don't think Killian Dane needs Robert Stone to get a match with Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis isn't a main eventer, and he's not a champion. It shouldn't be that hard to get a match with him. I'm sure he knows William Regal and can give him a shout. Also, why did Lumis get himself... He's not even in this segment, but just... Dexter Lumis is... Sorry, nose itchy again. For those of you listening in audio, you don't care. Why does Dexter Lumis care about any of this? Why does Dexter Lumis care about Aaliyah? Why does Dexter Lumis care about Killian Dane? Why does Killian Dane care about Dexter Lumis? Why does Dexter Lumis care about Robert Stone? This is hilarious. I think what's going to happen is, we'll get the match, and then Dane will maybe win, maybe not. You're going to have the Robert Stone faction consisting of Killian Dane and Aaliyah, seeing as they couldn't get Rhea Ripley, which is fine, and it's very, very strange. I like it because most of it is just Robert Stone sitting there as the personification of somebody shitting their pants and saying, please don't kill me. But at the same time, people actually think he can do stuff now. Killian Dane thinks Robert Stone can get him a match. I really don't know. I just really like the Robert Stone thing, and I know that's not popular, but it's something. He got run over by a Tank last week. It's fine. Io Shirai versus Tegan Nox for the NXT Women's Championship was your main event tonight. I don't really know what to say about this show tonight, guys, because it was good. There was a lot of cool stuff on it, but we're coming off of, 3 or so weeks of, pay-per-view quality television, and I think it's just getting back into the swing of watching a regular show and knowing that it's not going to be a pay-per-view every week, because we're not AEW and we're not desperate, and we're not going to guilt trip you into watching a show by calling it a charity event. Anyways, Io Shirai versus Tegan Nox, probably better than Moxley versus the big jacked up dude that's with Taz right now. That's fine. They don't even get through the introductions because Nox is so amped up and ready for this match that she sort of jump starts the match. Collar and elbow tie up, Nox works the arm, Shirai reverses, there's a side headlock, takeover by Shirai and a pin attempt by Nox, drop toe hold by Nox and a crossface that turns into a side headlock, a series of arm drags by Nox, more pin attempts and a mudhole stomp. The story of this match is Tegan Nox taking absolutely every opportunity she can to try and get a pinfall. It's an energy that doesn't leave throughout the whole match, even as they go farther in and you know, obviously start selling that they're both tired. She's always there. I didn't write it down every time because I don't have enough paper, but every single time that there's a breath in this match, she's going for a pin, which is really good, which is what you should do. Smart baby faces do smart things. Mudhole stop by Shirai and a corner forearm and an apron trip takes us into the commercial break. Neck vice by Shirai as we come back from the commercial break. Both women trade some shots. There's a fall-away slam by Nox. A Hardiac arrest by Shirai. I love that Shirai uses the Hardiac arrest. I think that's awesome. Boot by Shirai, a choke on the ropes, power slam, chops by Shirai, gut shot by Nox and a series of strikes. Double knees by Shirai, kneeling on Nox's head, which is lovely. Now, this was a face versus face match, and I've said in the past, I don't really know where Shirai is right now, because I think Shirai magically turned face about the same time that Asuka magically turned face. I don't really get it, but she's still tweener enough that she can heal it up on a true babyface like Tegan Nox, which is good. Both women trade some shots. There's a crossface by Shirai, a series of kicks on the outside from Shirai. Nox eats the steps, and then Shirai double knee strikes the steps, which looked like it fucking wrecked. Butterfly backbreaker by Shirai, a bridging German suplex to follow. Shirai in the Tree of Woe, and Nox hits the cannonball on her while she's upside down. Hits her with a couple more chops, hits her with a proper cannonball and a top rope crossbody and a choke slam. I do think we could go... I know she's doing the choke slam, and I know she said that one of her favorite wrestlers is Kane. I think we can do without calling her Lady Kane in every single match. Uppercut by Nox, cornerback elbow, German suplex into the turnbuckles by Shirai, corner knees, 619, top rope dropkick by Shirai, a super kick by Nox, facebuster and a molly go round, but an uppercut and a moonsault. Weird, I'm chipping on my words here. Series, you get this nice cool series by Tegan Nox. She goes to do the shiniest wizard, gets caught right dead center of the ring with an uppercut. You couldn't have framed it better. This is one of those weird opportunities where I gotta actually say, you know, camera guys in WWE, you know, props to you, because some other companies aren't always great with the cameras, I'm just saying. But the uppercut and the Shirai moonsault, it was funny. I don't know whether it was intentional or not, but the force of the moonsault when it landed actually rolled Tegan Nox onto her belly, so that she actually had to be rolled back over into the pin. I don't know whether that was intentional or not. Shirai wins. Tegan Nox doesn't really get hurt by this loss, because Tegan Nox, I don't know if it was better. I would put this on par with her street fight at Portland. But I don't know whether I would say this is better or whether it was just more heightened because, you know, of the title implications and whatever. But speaking of the title implications, nobody's hurt by this loss. A little bit of respect between the two of them after the match. Shirai is taking her triumphant march up the stageway, and what does she get? She gets a cheap shot from hot as fuck Dakota Kai. So there's your first proper feud for that title. Dakota Kai, Io Shirai. Please save this for a pay-per-view. It's all the good things. It's just all the good things. I will say, next week we got two really weird matches. I don't want to overhype these because I don't know how they're going to be, but they are weird and they are interesting to me. You guys know I am perpetually lost with what to think about Dexter Lumis, and I really struggle to care about Dominik Dijakovic. But we've got Dominik Dijakovic next week taking on Killian Dane, who I really... no, we don't. Sorry, I fucked that up. We got Dominik Dijakovic taking on KARRION KROSS, who I really like, next week. We got Dexter Lumis taking on Killian Dane, who I really like, next week. See, the easy thing for them to do, if they wanted to please me, would be like, why don't you just give me KARRION KROSS versus Killian Dane? But you get two matches out of this instead. I'm pretty sure Dijak's going down. I don't know what's going on with Lumis and Dane. I don't know what's happening. Robert Stone's going to be in there, isn't he, with his fucking walking boot. It's going to be good. I do want to say, in all seriousness, I'm going to plug it one more time. If you guys are anywhere near your computers this Saturday, 3 p.m. local time, check out Jake DeMarco's gaming stream charity thing for Extra Life. I'm going to say it until it's not true anymore, and it's never not going to be true. It's just a good dude doing a good thing. So go show him some support. Go show a good cause some support. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like I say, I'm going to throw my voice somewhere into that mix if I can. Can't tell you how or when or why, because it's not my show, but it's good shit, and we need good shit. And this show was good shit. Now I'm going to go watch AEW and take a shit on that. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.